Disney World is built on 7 brutal realities. Section 1, the vacation that bankrupts families. Disney sells happiness like it's a guaranteed product, but what they often leave out of the brochure is the brutal financial reality. For many families, a 1-week vacation to Orlando can easily cost more than a month of their rent or mortgage payment. That's not exaggeration, that's the financial scale families walk into. Tickets are the first gut punch. The cost of admission is the immediate shock. As of fall 2025, a single day, 1-park ticket to Magic Kingdom can range from $144 to a peak of $199 per person, depending on the day you visit. For a family of 4 spending 4 park days, you're already closing in on $2,500 before you even bought a bottle of water. The desire for flexibility adds significantly to the price. The park hopper option, allowing guests to visit multiple parks in one day, adds about $80 to $85 per person per day to the ticket price. For that same family of 4, adding park hopper to a 4-day ticket could easily cost over $1,300 on top of the base ticket price, just for the freedom Disney markets in every ad. Hotels are the second hit. Disney's on-property hotels fall into 3 price categories: value, moderate, and deluxe. The names are misleading, as even the budget option is a significant expense. Value resort rooms typically start in the $130 to $160 range during off-peak times, but it can easily climb to $250 to $300 a night during busier seasons. Moderate resorts commonly run in the $275 to $400 range per night, and deluxe resorts typically start around $550 to $700 per night, with peak season prices often soaring past $1,000 per night. 1 week at a deluxe resort clocks in over $5,000 for the room alone, a room that might be smaller than most chain hotels off property. Food is the third drain, and it's relentless. Quick service meals average $14 to $18 each. Sit-down and table service meals run $25 to $60 per entree. Character dining starts at $58 and runs to $74 per adult and climbs, not including tax or tip. Add in snacks, $7 pretzels, $7 popcorn buckets, $5 bottled sodas and water, and the daily total for a family of 4 breaks $200 to $300. That's $1,500 to $2,000 in food over a week, if you're restrained. More if you buy cocktails, festival bites, or want to splurge on a signature meal. Then there's the layer Disney doesn't call optional, but feels unavoidable. The paid line skipping service, now called Lightning Lane MultiPass, is no longer a flat fee, but dynamic pricing, typically $15 to $39 a head per day. This replaces the old Genie Plus system. The most popular rides require a separate Lightning Lane single pass, costing anywhere from $16 to $35 a head per ride. Unlike before, resort guests can purchase these up to 7 days in advance, turning the vacation prep itself into high-stakes, prepaid financial commitment. Memory Maker Photo Package is $185 unless one person buys an annual pass add-on. After Hours parties cost $119 to $229 plus. Disney's business model is upsell after upsell. The base trip doesn't really exist anymore. Every corner of the park is designed to remind you what you haven't paid for yet, because it gives you FOMO when you see other people having fun doing it. And you haven't even touched transportation yet. Magical Express was free. Well, that's gone. Mears Connect shuttle costs $16 to $20 per adult each way. Minivans are pricey. Lyft or Uber to and from MCO averages $35 to $60 each way. Add your luggage fees, your flights, and your airport meals on top of that. Here's what the math looks like when you stop kidding yourself. A family of 4, 7 nights, moderate resort, 4-day park hoppers, 1 character meal, 4 days of Lightning Lane MultiPass, Memory Maker, and the unavoidable snacks. Total, $6,400 to $9,400, not including your flights. That's the mid-range, not the luxury blowout, not the bargain basement. That's just the middle. Here's the truth. Disney still markets itself as a universal rite of passage. Every kid deserves to go, and I agree with that. Walt himself said he built Disneyland so parents and kids could play together. But the numbers don't lie. Whole demographics are now locked out. Families that could once swing the trip by saving for a year now can't even get close. The average American family vacation has been priced into a luxury tier. And when parents do stretch to make that happen, maxing credit cards, cashing in savings, the pressure doubles. You can't afford a meltdown day because every hour costs. You can't afford to skip a reservation because every booking is money. The trip itself becomes a financial stress test. The bottom line, Disney isn't selling a theme park. They're selling access to a dream you may only afford once in your lifetime, if at all. That's not magic, that's brutality. Section 2. When magic meets danger. Disney World sells the bubble of perfect safety, the safest place you'll ever take your kids. But here's the brutal truth. Danger doesn't stop at the gates. The headlines in Florida shifted this year when the First District Court of Appeal struck down the state's long-standing ban on open carry. Overnight, the Attorney General confirmed it. Carrying a firearm openly is now legal statewide for eligible citizens. Open carry means carrying the weapon where everyone can see it, like a pistol on your hip or a rifle across your back, instead of tucked away under clothing. For people familiar with firearms, it may not feel that much has changed, but for the millions of families and international tourists who come to Florida every year, it's jarring. Suddenly, you might spot strangers walking down the street or into a gas station with guns fully visible, something they'd never see at home. The law didn't expand who can carry, it changed how public and visible that reality is. And that visibility is exactly what makes the shift so controversial. Here's the part most people don't understand. Disney sits on private property, and private property gets to make its own rules. Disney bans firearms, knives, and weapons across all of its parks, resorts, and shopping districts. They've had that rule in place for years, and they enforce it hard with bag checks, metal detectors, canine units, and the right to trespass anyone who ignores it. Even in a state where open carry is suddenly legal, the law stops cold the moment you reach Disney security. You're not walking through with a Glock in your waistband. But guns aren't the only thing Disney has to keep out. The parks see real fights. In 2022, 2 families went viral for a full-on brawl near Peter Pan's flight. It ended with arrests and hospitalizations. In 2024, a man was arrested in Magic Kingdom for allegedly laying hands on a woman in a domestic dispute. Police and Disney security step in fast, but crime isn't zero inside the bubble. And then there are these tragedies. The 2009 monorail collision, which killed a pilot and injured others when a track switch was left in the wrong position. The 2016 Grand Floridian attack, where an alligator pulled a 2-year-old child into the shoreline, still shapes Disney property to this day. Beaches closed, fences went up, warning signs got sharper. Disney water looks decorative, but it's Florida water. It's real, and it can be dangerous. Pools and resorts aren't immune either. There have been drownings, there have been falls. Disney doesn't advertise these incidents, of course, why would they? But they do happen, and each one changes how cast members are trained to respond. Food is another layer. If you've got an allergy, Disney has one of the best reputations in the industry. Chefs will come out, menus are flagged, cast are trained to walk you through every item. For most people, the system works, but not always. In 2023, a woman was eating at Raglan Road in Disney Springs, a third-party tenant. She'd confirmed with the staff that her food was dairy and nut-free. 45 minutes later, she collapsed from anaphylaxis and she passed away. Her husband filed a wrongful death lawsuit. Disney initially tried to push the case into arbitration using a Disney Plus subscriber agreement. That legal tactic made national headlines. Disney backed down, and the case is still moving forward in court. That's the brutality for allergy families. Inside the parks and Disney-run restaurants, a system is airtight, but once you step into a third-party venue, you need to treat it like the outside world. Speak to the chef, confirm 3 times, and if something feels off, don't eat it. Put it all together and you see the shape of the truth. Disney is safe. Safer than most places you'll ever take your family. But it's not perfect, and it never will be. Florida's laws still apply around it, wildlife still exists beside it, human behavior still slips in. The scale of Disney World means these things are rare, but rare isn't zero. That's not negativity, that's preparation. Section 3, the cost of a cast member's smile. Every Disney commercial makes it look effortless. Cast members are always smiling, always waving, always ready to make your day better. But behind that name tag is a reality that's nothing like the fantasy. The current minimum wage for cast members is about $18 an hour, on a path to $20 by next year. The average full-time worker makes around $37,000 a year. That's below the national average for similar jobs, and in Orlando, it doesn't stretch far. Rent hovers around $2,000 a month. A living wage for a single adult in Orange County runs closer to $25 an hour, and if you're raising a child, you'd need almost $40. That gap doesn't close, no matter how wide you smile. Some people point to Anaheim and say it's worse there. Disneyland cast members are on track to make $26 an hour, but Orange County, California is one of the most expensive places to live in the country. Orlando isn't California, but it's not cheap either. What makes it brutal is the contradiction. This is one of America's most expensive service economy cities, built around the most profitable theme parks in the world. And the people keeping it running are still scraping by on less than what it costs to live here. That means commutes from cheaper towns an hour away, apartments split between 3 or 4 roommates, second jobs, side hustles, whatever it takes to make it through. Disney sells vacations that cost families $8,000 a week, and the people making those vacations work are trying to decide which bill they can pay right now. And the paycheck isn't the only cost. Disney still enforces what they call the Disney look. The rules have softened, but the expectations remained. For performers, your entire body is part of the casting process. Height, weight proportions. If you don't fit the character, you don't work. Then there's the part you don't see, the emotional labor. Cast members don't just scan your ticket, they take your stress, your anger, and your disappointment, and they absorb it with a smile. And they get screamed at when Lightning Lane goes wrong. They get blamed when the confectionery runs out of your favorite snack. They mop up after sick kids. They calm lost children, and they do it all while guests unload on them like the price of a ticket bought the right to be cruel. We don't see what happens backstage. We don't see how many go home with migraines from the heat or how quickly new hires burn out. High turnover isn't an accident, it's part of the model. The machine demands smiles, and if one person can't keep smiling, someone else will. That's the contradiction. The most magical place on earth runs on the labor of people who can barely afford to live near it. And yet they keep showing up every day to make sure your trip feels perfect. So if you want to honor the real cost of a cast member's smile, remember the person behind the name tag. Say thank you. Treat them with respect. The magic you came for only exists because they're willing to pay the price for it. For all of us. Section 4, The Witch on Waste Mountain. Disney makes trash disappear like magic. You toss a wrapper in a bin and within minutes it's gone. Pathways are spotless. Cans never overflow, and you could almost believe 40 million visitors a year produce nothing at all. But the reality is brutal. Behind the stage, there's a mountain of waste that never stops growing. I actually saw Disney test a different way of handling it once at Regal Eagle Steakhouse. Cast members didn't just wipe down your table, they'd take your entire tray, separate out the compostables, and even collect your drinks so the liquid didn't end up sloshing into the trash. Buckets for soda and tea, bins for recycling, food scraps put aside for composting. For once, you could see the machine working. You could see Disney proving that the mountain could be managed if the system was built for it, and then, as quickly as it appeared, it was gone. The pilot ended, and it has not returned since. Restaurantosaurus runs a similar experiment. Everything there comes in biodegradable packaging, plain brown cups and trays. Themed to Dinoland's conservation story, they weren't covered in the colorful Disney prints you see everywhere else, but that was the point. They were meant to break down. It fit the theme, it fit the message, and it has worked for all of these years. But with Dinoland closing, that experiment is disappearing too. And that's the contradiction. Disney can do it, they've shown it. They can build systems where cast members guide the waste stream, where liquids don't go into bags, where compostable items are actually composted. But those systems live and die in pilots tucked away in single restaurants, while the rest of the resort barrels forward, producing one of the largest piles of trash in Florida. Because the truth is, the magic of Disney's cleanliness is built on hiding what happens backstage. Magic Kingdom's tunnels whisk bags of garbage out of sight, trucks haul compacted waste out at midnight. An incineration plant burns tons of trash a day to keep up with the volume. Disney touts its conservation goals: zero waste to landfill by 2030, net zero emissions by 2035. But when you look at the daily grind, you see billions of plastic bottles, mountains of uneaten festival food, industrial laundry loads that never stop. The footprint isn't small, it's city-sized. And yet you never see it. You never walk past overflowing cans or smell rot behind a corner. That's the illusion Disney protects at all costs. Your vacation looks perfect because the mess is hidden, even though it's piling up somewhere else. The most magical place on earth might be the cleanest stage you've ever stood on. Behind that curtain, the waste mountain keeps growing. Section 5, the body breakdown in the Florida heat. You don't think about how hot Florida is until it threatens to break you. By noon, the promise of magic starts to feel like a slow roast. That's when the cracks begin and your body becomes the battleground. I want you to picture this. You're walking through Tomorrowland, sun overhead, humidity pressing you, your shirt sticks to you, your feet are hot, you reach for your water bottle and it's empty again. That's the moment the trip stops being fun, it becomes survival. Disney is ready. They maintain their own fire EMS stations, now operated under the Central Florida Tourism Oversight District, because they know how collapse is part of the script. Midday, first aid stops get full. People slump in queues, faint on parade routes, get carried out before attractions begin. The park layout anticipates breakdowns. Let's walk through exactly what the body goes through on a hot day walking around Disney World right here in Central Florida. First stage, heat exhaustion, excess sweating, nausea, dizziness, headache, racing pulse. You might feel lightheaded, weak, and clammy. Next, heat stroke. No sweating, confusion, rapid heartbeat, maybe loss of consciousness. That's when your body's over its limit. Dehydration itself, when your body loses more fluid than it takes in, leads to cramping, dry mouth, decrease in urine output, dizziness, and eventually shock if untreated. Pair those with walking miles, carrying backpacks, standing in sunlit queues, wearing dark clothes, or costumes at the Halloween party, you're stacking risks. I've seen people push it too far. You see them lean against fences, rub foreheads, slump mid-trail. I've heard stories of guests pretending they're okay until they aren't, refusing breaks, skipping water because they don't want to miss an attraction, ignoring the signs until their vision blurs. That's dangerous. So what do you do when your body is screaming? You pause, you hydrate, you retreat. Those text messages you're getting, extreme heat advisory, stay hydrated, heat index 102 degrees Fahrenheit, they're not for show. They are to warn you of the risk that is real. When you see them, take them seriously. Take advantage of the free ice water at quick service locations. Sit in the shade, skirt routes that bounce across full sunlight. Enjoy indoor shows. Know where first aid is. They used to have a lot more misting fans back in the day, or misters in queues in general, but you can still find them, and when you see one, take advantage of it. And always take advantage of those water bottle refill stations. They're there for a reason. The practical moves here are hydrate early, hydrate often, not just water, add electrolytes, or have a sports drink. Dress smart. breathable fabrics, hats, UV sleeves, sunglasses, not the cute merch you just bought that you're gonna regret 3 hours later. Rotate dead time, take midday breaks inside AC spaces, shows, indoor attractions. Listen to your body, don't push. If your pulse is erratic or your head pounds, pull back. Buddy check, pair up, watch each other for slurred speech, confusion, or stumbling. And of course, use first aid early. Don't wait for a full collapse. Disney has clinics. They'll cool you down, rehydrate you, and let you recover. Here's the cruel part. One misstep in heat, one fainting guest, one medical episode, and your perfect trip changes. You lose time, you lose energy, you lose memories. And on top, you might carry shame for missing what you came to do. But you don't have to lose. You can fight back, respect the sun, use the shade, hydrate like it's your job. Build your day around cooling, not just thrills. It's not pessimism, it's common sense. So remember, Disney doesn't design the land to roast you. You throw your body into it, and when it's 100 degrees Fahrenheit with 85% humidity, that body needs protection. What you plan, whether you win or collapse, is up to how hard you take care of yourself. Section 6, the choices that choose you. Disney sells freedom, hundreds of restaurants, 4 parks, dozens of upgrades. It feels empowering until you try to pick anything. Then the spell flips. Your brain stalls, your day slows, and you start spending more just to make the anxiety stop. And this is choice overload, and Disney is an expert at weaponizing it. Psychologists call it the paradox of choice. Too many options make you commit less and worry more that you choose wrong. This leads to decision fatigue, where your brain gets so tired that you stop thinking critically and start impulsively grabbing whatever the app nudges you towards, or whatever merch, or whatever snacks, or money, whatever. Under the hood, design mechanics quietly steer you in these ways. Anchoring. The high rack rate of a deluxe resort room makes the 30% off discount feel like a gift, even if the final price is way out of your budget. The decoy effect. An obviously worse middle option often exists just to push you to the more expensive option. The deal chooses you. The choice architecture. Disney uses defaults, limited time ribbons, and push notifications in the app to nudge your behavior, turning your vacation into a measurable sequence of upsells. The deck is stacked, but you can fight back. The power move is to pre-commit to 3 non-negotiables per day and let everything else be gravy. Guard your morning brain for high-value choices and accept that you cannot choose everything. The minute that you stop trying to conquer the choices and simply use your own default plan, the park stops working against your head. Section 7, when the magic breaks down. Disney works harder than any company on earth to keep the illusion airtight. Every trash can is spotless. Every ride runs on clockwork. Well, for the most part. And they're really good about getting them back up when they're down. Even with Rise of the Resistance, it just takes sometimes the engineers, I think, a little bit of time to learn what are the main problems we're going to encounter, and things are back up and running so much more quickly now. Every trash can is spotless, and every cast member smiles, but the brutal truth is the whole fantasy rests on systems that break, and when they do, the magic shatters instantly. The scale guarantees failure. Headliners like Rise of the Resistance are mechanical marvels, cycling thousands of riders a day, but they break constantly. Guests who've waited years end up walking out of an emergency exit while stormtroopers stand frozen in the dark. You don't get that fantasy moment back. Florida weather does it too. One lightning strike evaporates an entire night's worth of fireworks, forcing families to pack up after hours of waiting. Shows cut mid-performance, one cloudburst, and the night is done. The people can break the spell as well. Meltdowns in the heat, guests screaming at each other, parents dragging overtired children through the final fireworks. It all demands emotional triage from cast members who must de-escalate fights and absorb the abuse of a derailed dream vacation. If you made it to the end, go ahead and put this password in the comments below, and while you're down there, hit like and subscribe, and go ahead and turn on notifications so you'll be the first to know when myself or one of my friends comes out with a brand new video, something we do all week. See you next time.